So you've taken the plunge and you've ordered that new sawmill and a 10-pack of blades. But what else do you need to get from this to this? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to B&B Farms, where we're trying to live with our land and not just on it. Today we're down at the sawmill. I thought we'd talk a little bit about some of the required tools, or what I feel are required to enable you to use your sawmill to its fullest capacity. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk probably one of the most contentious subjects first. We're going to talk chainsaws. Take a look. All right, here's what we use at B&B Farms. We've got a Stihl 021, a Stihl 029 Super, and an 038 Magnum. The Magnum has a 24-inch bar, or 25 if you're a Stihl purist. The 029 Super has a 20-inch bar, and the 021 has a 14-inch bar. All right, we might as well address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Chainsaws are like potato chips, or maybe donuts. Everyone has their favorite. Everyone is convinced that the one they like is the best, but something we can all agree on is we want more than one. You know, I've got a 14-inch bar for limbing the treetops. That works really well. I've got a 25-inch bar for the main trunk, but I've got a 20-inch bar that does the bulk of the work. And if I were to limit myself to one saw, that would be it. An 18 or a 20-inch bar, I think, will do most stuff that you're going to need to get done. So that's my recommendation. As far as brand, that's up to you. Oh, and just for the record, I like Cool Ranch Doritos and those chocolate-covered Long Johns with that white fluffy center. Not that weird cream gooey stuff, but the white fluffy stuff. So there you have it. Let's get back to it. You probably noticed that I didn't talk about using those chainsaws to get those trees cut down. That's because YouTube is full of content on people cutting down trees. Some of it good, some of it bad. Thing is, I'm no expert, far from it, and I'm not about to give advice on how to fell a tree. So I'll leave that, guys, up to you. Let's just pretend for the sake of a conversation that we've got the tree cut and it's on the ground. Now what do we do? All right, for the sake of conversation, we're going to assume that this aspen log I have sitting here is a tree that we've just cut down. We've got our tape measure on it. You got to have a tape. After all, you got to have this thing cut, this tree cut into logs that you can manage and that are the appropriate length for the lumber you wish to get. So quick tip, whatever size board you want to cut, whether it be 8 foot, 10, 12, whatever, cut yourself a little extra. That will let you cut off the ends to square it and to avoid the checking that's probably going to occur. So string your tape out, get the measurement that you want, and then take your hatchet and just mark it. That's where you'll cut that log to length with the chainsaw. Easy peasy. So you've got that tree cut down, you've got those logs cut up, and you're ready to get those logs to the mill. How do you do it? Take a look at a couple of videos here. We'll show you how we do it here at B&B Farms. Now, a tractor isn't the only way you can do that. I've seen folks use ATVs with log archers. I've even seen some guys use horses, draft horses, to drag them out of the woods. But whatever you choose, make sure it's up to the task. These logs are heavy, and getting them down out of the woods to the mill, it puts a strain on whatever you're using. If you go with the tractor route, which I think a lot of guys do, I've got a couple, pieces of advice for you. Number one, choose a brand that is, has dealer support local to you. Anything mechanical will break down sooner or later, and it's nice to be able to get a part or to get service quickly. If you have to haul that tractor 6 hours one way, and just because you saved $750 on the price, is it worth it? Not to me. I'd rather be in the woods or at the mill making lumber than on the road taking my tractor someplace. Number two, keep in mind of the weight capacity of that tractor you choose. If you're constantly lifting logs, within, right up at the very top end of what your loader can handle, sure, it'll do it, but how long is it going to do it? Give yourself a little buffer, a little wiggle room there. If your budget can stand it at all, my advice is to get a bigger tractor than what you think you'll need. In the long run, I think you'll be happy, and I think that your tractor will be happy and will reward you with a little longer service life. Here at B&B Farms, we use an LS XG3140H. That's a 3000 series chassis with a 40 horsepower engine. And it does a pretty good job for us. But if I had to do it over again, knowing I was going to have a sawmill, which I didn't when I bought it, I would probably step up to, a little bigger tractor myself. So, if you can afford it, get a bigger tractor. You guys probably noticed in that last video clip that we used a log tong arrangement on the 3-point hitch of the LS tractor to lift those logs. I will put a link to that video that explains that in greater detail at the end of this video, so you guys can check that out. So now that you've got the log down to the mill, how do you get it set up, up on the mill? Well, they make a ramp design, or most sawmill manufacturers do, where you can, use a winch and drag the log, kind of roll it up the ramp, up onto the mill. That seems to work really well. I've seen a lot of those in use. If you have a tractor, which we already talked about, getting logs down, out of the woods, you can put a grapple or a set of pallet forks on that tractor. We use pallet forks here at B&B Farms. We'd like to have a grapple, but we don't have that done just yet. So let's take a look at, how we do that here. All right, that day you've been waiting for has finally arrived. You've got that log on the mill and you've made your first cut. Sawdust is flying everywhere. You're grinning from ear to ear. You're throwing water on that exposed grain to check out and see what it looks like. Everything is great, right? Yeah, it is. But then you realize that, hey, I've got 3 more cuts to make and I have to turn this heavy log. How are you going to do that? Now, I suspect the cant hook is what most folks use to turn their logs. Come out there. Ours lives right here at the mill. I'll set it up here. We'll get a look at it. Maybe turn it that way. There we go. This is the Woodland Mills cant hook, and it's done a good job for us. You can see that the handle's a little beat up along with the rest of it because it leads a pretty busy life here at the sawmill, but it does a really good job. Now, that's the low budget way to turn the log. If you want to know a little better way, there are guys out there that are using beams and winches, to turn that log for you. A really slick setup is done by my buddies Dan and Jay over at Two Guys Timber Framing. I'll put a link to their channel down in the video description and you can check out how they do it. So you've taken that first log on your sawmill and you've cut all 4, slabs off of it, and you're looking at the most beautiful red oak cant you've ever seen, and all is good in your world. Until you pick up the tape measure and discover that one end of that cant is 1/2 inch bigger than the other end. Now what? Well, that's when you get your framing square and you check and make sure that your log, the cant you cut is square. You get another square or even the same square and you check to make sure that your log stops are square to the bunks. If they're not, you're going to need to level, or more accurately, flatten your mill. So you need tools to do that with. This is what we use on our Woodland Mills HM126. We've got another whole video dedicated to getting your mill to cut square and to leveling your mill. And I will put a link to that at the end of this video also. So let's say that the mill cut a perfect cant. What are you going to do with that first piece of lumber? That's easy. Stickers. You can never have too many stickers. Let me show you what I mean. You've got to have somewhere to stack and to space all that lumber you're getting ready to cut for it to dry properly. We cut 1 inch square stickers, and as I said, you cannot have too many of them. So you're going to need some place to store stickers, and you're going to need lumber to cut stickers out of. Those stickers are no good without some place to stack and dry your lumber. Let's check that out now. Here we go. This is a lumber stack at B&B Farms. We've got it on a base, we've got it ratchet strapped down, and we've got it covered with tin and weighted down with some old slabs. You will find, as we did probably, that when you have a sawmill, lumber builds up fast. You've got to have somewhere to keep it, somehow to keep it out of the weather and let it dry. It's great if you have a kiln, which we hope to build soon, but if you don't, then you're going to stack it outside most likely, and that's what that does for you. So add that to your list. You need some place and some manner to store the finished lumber. Well, I think that about does it. You know, I could go on and on about stuff that you use down at the sawmill. You can have a laser, you can have a fan, you can have a mirror at the end of the end of the mill to show the position of the tractor or what you're loading logs with, and we have all that. But it's not really necessary, to mill lumber. This video was just to go over the basics, the stuff that I consider, necessary. Perhaps we'll make another video and we'll touch on some of the enhancements, we'll call it, that you can use to make the Woodland Mills sawmill your sawmill. When you buy it, it's like everybody else's sawmill. But when you get it home and get it set up, that's when you start customizing it. That's when you start making it your sawmill. So, keep that in mind. Well, guys, I want to wrap it up. I want to get out of here. Please remember to like, man, these bees are terrible. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. We are trying to grow the channel. Every little bit helps. Remember to get outside. It's a beautiful day out here. Get outside and enjoy what's around you. You'll be a better person for it. Be nice to one another. We could use a lot more of that. The world's a crazy place. Guys, I'll see you on the next video.